how's it going? It's Shakur, and I'm going to talk about how you build this unfathomable confidence within yourself, something that's just going to make you do anything and everything that you want to do in life. So a very big problem that I see a lot of young men facing is that they lack this confidence. And if you think of all the situations where you did not feel sure about yourself or you did not have confidence, you want to understand how your mind works when it comes to confidence, right? Our mind basically looks at past experiences and it tries to understand how well we did in our past experiences, on which it creates an image of ourselves and decides if we should be feeling confident while doing a certain thing or while not doing it. So say a kid learns to ride a bike and he's never ridden a bike before. So he feels not that confident to do it. But once someone has ridden a bike for a couple of years or has, traveled a certain distance on a bike, the brain tries to understand, and since it has developed this past history of things that it has done well while riding the bike, the brain gives you the signal that, hey, it's probably okay, you can ride this bike. So you have to understand that confidence and how our mind sees confidence is reliant on our past experiences. Now, clearly, anytime you do anything new, you do not have past experiences to rely on, and that's why you feel unsure or not that confident while taking on something new. But then, say you're in a social gathering and you're not feeling that confident to talk to people, but after you take a couple of drinks, all of a sudden you start feeling confident. Now, how does that happen? Basically, what alcohol does is that, it reduces our ability to think that much logically in that situation, and all the self-criticism that we essentially have when we're in our full capacity, we let go of it to a certain level and we start feeling much more confident about how to approach someone or how to talk to someone. The other thing it does is that, it gives you this easing feeling within your body and you start feeling more relaxed and more comfortable within yourself. Once you start feeling more comfortable within yourself, you feel more confident to do anything that you would want to do. But sadly, alcohol is not a long-term solution, and you cannot take it during work settings. You cannot take it, all the time of the day. Some people might argue that they can, but it's not recommended. That's not how you want to be confident. You don't want to be confident relying on something external. You have to find your internal radar, your internal motivation for your own confidence. And that's why the real key to confidence comes in being in the present moment. The more you learn to be in the present moment and you can detach yourself, disassociate yourself from the past experiences, you can learn to be confident in the present moment. Because if there is no past and you have no recollection of the past, and this is the very first moment you're doing something and you're always constantly living yourself in the present moment, you can do anything in a flow state. You can approach any situation with a fresh perspective, with something that will empower you. And our biggest challenges anyways come from constantly thinking about the future or thinking about how this situation could go wrong in the future, right? And that is all hypothetical until something has happened and you just constantly logically analyze all types of future scenarios, and that in turn becomes the biggest reason why you're not feeling confident in the present moment. That is the biggest disservice you can do yourself. So you want to learn how to detach yourself from the past and the future so you can truly be in the present moment and find that internal confidence. Now, what I'm telling you is something very unique, right? Because say you're doing something new and you've learned to detach yourself from the past. Now, not doing that particular thing in the past will not add to you not being confident in the present moment. But then there's this other dilemma with this situation, because say you've done something a lot of times in the past and you've been very successful at it. But if you detach yourself from the past and if you're relying on your past experiences to gain confidence in that particular case, it would not work anyways. So I don't want you to be reliant on your past experiences into telling you if you should feel confident in the present moment and if you should do a certain thing. But I want you to learn to stay grounded in the present moment and understand that every situation is a new situation, and that is possibly the best way to live this life. Sadly, throughout our life, we are always conditioned in a way that we constantly either analyze future situations or derive motivation into achieving something in the future scenario, or we are constantly run by our past cycles. Look at anything. You go to school because you think you would graduate, and if you need to graduate to get a job and to make money, right? People who are super religious, even they are living in the future because they're being super religious either to go to heaven or to attain nirvana or to get out of this life birth cycle. So even for them, the motivation lies in the future. And if that motivation is lying, all that's motivating us is a future goal, we have already missed the point of whole spirituality, and we've missed the point on how to live this life in the best way possible. Now, I'm not saying it to do it in a crazy way. Of course, we have situations where we have to plan for the future, We have to be a planner. We have to understand past trends so we don't make those mistakes again. But that's why we have this brain. But the goal is you want to learn how to turn off your brain when you don't want it to analyze stuff. The human brain is like a great tool, It can help you understand past trends, which can help you predict future trends, and it can help analyze certain actions that will take you in the future and why not to walk on certain paths in your life. So all that analysis is great. The problem comes when that analysis takes over every waking moment of your time, and every waking moment of your life is constantly either run by your past cycles or anticipation of the future. So you want to break into that. Understand that this human brain is just an instrument, and it's supposed to be controlled by you as the consciousness. It's a tool in the hands of consciousness and not the other way around. So learning to be in the present moment and learning to be grounded in the present moment, understanding that you're this piece of infinite life, and when you see yourself in that paradigm, in that dimension, you truly learn to feel that nothing bad can happen to you anyway. Another trend that I see is that 90% of the people are just miserable because they're making just bad future hypotheses. They continue to make these future scenarios that will happen in their life, and none of them are good, and they're just stressed out by things that could potentially happen 5 years down the road. Like, out of the million things that could happen in their life in the future, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, they just pick on one possibility that is not good, and they get stressed out in the present moment because of it. Now, you want to learn how to get rid of that. And the more you learn to be in the present moment, detached from your past and away from your future, you learn to accept yourself in the present moment. You learn to develop and cultivate that self-love. And the more you can cultivate that feeling of self-love, the more confident you are. Because imagine the last time you did not talk to a stranger, or you did not talk at parties, or you did not, showcase your talent or your skill, your intellect in a public setting, was because you were afraid if people might see your weaknesses, if people might really not like you. But all that is hypothetical, and it comes from this sense of us knowing our own weaknesses, of us knowing our own shortcomings, and of us understanding that, somewhere we are not enough. But the more you learn to be in the present moment, the more you learn to cultivate your own self-love, the more you learn to understand and accept your shortcomings, weaknesses, and everything that is you. And the more you do that, you just learn how to communicate better, you learn how to be more confident in any situation, and that is how you make a difference. And that is how you make a difference, and you kind of get drunk on the present moment. You don't get drunk on any form of intoxication, but you get drunk in the present moment. So always keep in mind, all big journeys start with small steps. Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither will be the dream personality that you want to create for yourself. But it is possible if you walk the path, and it is possible to uncondition your mind from always living in the past or the future and to actually be present, to actually stay in the present moment, to understand the infinity of the present moment, and to be happy, to be confident. This is your life, and it's one life. Understand its value and do justice to yourself.